Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is an update video. I am using these settings now in Quake Champions, and that's because I'm running a 4070 Ti. And I want this video to act as an update to the previous Quake Champions benchmarking video, because not only have I swapped GPUs, but I have changed some system settings as well. You'll notice in the top left that I'm running at 5.1 gigahertz as opposed to just 5 gigahertz, and that is because I didn't have hyperthreading turned off before. So I turned it off now. I got an extra bump in performance out of it, a small bump, not a big one. But what that also did was it freed up headroom in the processor. Basically, the processor didn't have to work as hard with hyperthreading off, and it gave me this extra headroom to boost up the clock frequency. So I'm running it at 5.1 gigahertz. It does, the 9900 KF, or at least mine, it does run stable at 5.2, but the temps were getting much higher and I wasn't really seeing a whole lot of more performance out of it. So yeah, I just kept it at 5.1. That's what I'm running it at for now. And yeah, that's where we are. Now this video, I wanted to be not just an update, but I want to kind of change gears a little bit. And well, I mean, you can see that this video and my frame rate here, it's not really any different from the previous GPU benchmark that I released a couple months back. And that is because, as we know, Quake Champions is a CPU-bound game. If you want to get more frames, you need a stronger CPU, stronger RAM. The graphics card here, I mean, it just produces the graphics, right? So if you have a strong GPU if you have a strong CPU and a weak GPU, you're going to have to turn the graphics down. But at that lower graphics, you're still going to get the nice high frame rate. However, if you have a nice CPU and a nice GPU, you can turn the graphics up, the frame rate will be the same, and you'll be able to enjoy the higher graphics. And that's kind of the situation here, is that I like how Quake Champions looks. I like how it looks even better with the graphics turned up. And now that I don't have this 1080 Ti, even though it's a great card, just needed something a little bit more powerful. And now I can play with everything at ultra. And when I play, I max everything at 240 frames, and it has no problem in this benchmark in a full 8-person game getting a steady 240 FPS, no hiccups. So that's this is what I'm playing at now. This is how I like to play. And yeah, so what I'm kind of realigning to in this video is that if you want to play at ultra settings and get a stable 240 FPS frame rate for your game, what are the minimum system requirements to do that? Do you need a 9900K? Can you use something from an older generation? Yeah, I think so, actually. To be honest, I think if you have like an 8700K or equivalent AMD CPU, like a solid 6-core CPU with some good, DDR4 3200 megahertz RAM, I think that's enough to get that frame rate. And then of course, you need the GPU to do the ultra setting graphics. So I think that's the other question, right? Because the 1080 Ti, while it is good enough to get a stable 240 frame rate with the lighting on high and all the other settings turned off or turned on low, it's not good enough to get that same frame rate at ultra settings. So what kind of GPU do you need to get that frame rate with ultra? I would say, and again, I didn't own any of the 2000 or 3000 series GPUs, but from reports, from word of mouth, and from talking to other people that do own them, I would say something in the range of a 2080 Super or an RTX 3070 is going to be about the minimum GPU power you need to get the stable 240 frame rate at ultra. Now, if you'll notice in the top left, you can see the CPU performance and also the GPU performance. So the GPU, because this is corrupted keep, you'll see the usage go up and down, usually between like 50 and 80%. but the power consumption really doesn't go above 150 very often. But if you turn on the benchmark, my older benchmark video with when I was using the 1080 Ti, now that card had the 1080 Ti Founders Edition has a TDP of 250 watts. I was using the 1080 Ti ROG Strix card. That had a TDP of 275. This 4070 Ti has a TDP of 285 watts. And it's really not even using, I mean, it's really not going above 150 very often. Although the usage does spike up, you know, into the 80s sometimes, and then that demands more power, it really doesn't go above 150, 160 very often. However, the 1080 Ti, and this is, by the way, what you're watching, these are all the settings on Ultra. However, the 1080 Ti with the lighting on high, that was using full power. If you go back and you look at those power consumption statistics and the GPU usage was maxed out at 98, 99%, and the power consumption was, you know, sitting around 250, going above that sometimes. So I just wanted to make this update to not only show you, you know, like the performance that you can get with one of these new graphics cards, newer graphics cards, if you're thinking about upgrading and you want to, you know, max out the graphic performance using Ultra. I wanted to make this video to kind of answer the question, like, what's the minimum? Okay, I want to play on Ultra settings. What are the minimum requirements I need to do that? And yeah, so I think you're going to need like a solid 6-core CPU, 8700K, 9700K, whatever the current 13th gen 6-core. I don't know if they even do 6-core for 13th gen but you understand. And then GPU, you know, what's that minimum GPU power? I think it's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of a 2080 Super / RTX 3070. I don't know anything about like what the 40 series, like 4060 is going to be. That would probably be enough to be honest with you. But yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to answer in this video. This is the update to the benchmark. Again, if you guys have any more questions, do check out the description below because I'm posting I've done more benchmarks than just the one that you saw here. And down in the description, you'll see you can compare the benchmarks with this card because I did benchmark it with the lighting on high, the lighting on Ultra, and then you can compare those benchmarks with the other benchmarks I did with the 1080 Ti from the original benchmark with the hyper threading off. And yeah, you can compare the two, and you'll see actually there really isn't much of a difference in the frame rate. It just things changed a little bit, slightly, when I got the GPU and upped the graphics a bit. So yep, that's about it. Hope this was helpful. Again, if you guys have any questions, comments, do let me know down below, and I will see you in the next video.